Welcome to Global News on Senator TV. I am Brandon Kumar. The headlines: Enugu Army's football legend Christian Chukwu with solemn service of songs. Obasanjo Presidential Library threatens legal action, demands apology over EFCC raid. UN ambassadors condemn Israeli plans to seize Gaza City. Crystal Palace beat Liverpool on penalties to win Community Shield. Details in a moment.
Every second, every minute, every day, news is breaking. Events occur and there are new developments. At Signature TV, we follow these stories objectively, bringing all sides without bias, explaining the complex issues, breaking down the numbers, and investigating the issues behind the news. Anywhere and everywhere, near or far, wherever the news is, we will be there. Signature TV. News in your pocket.
A solemn service of songs was held on Saturday at St. Andrew's Anglican Church, Transekulu, Enugu, to honor the late Nigerian football legend Christian Chukwu, who passed away on April 12, 2025. The event, which took place from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m., marked the start of a week-long funeral program organized by the Enugu State Government and the Chukwu family. Reverend Christian Oya delivered an exhortation encouraging the congregation to reflect on their own lives and prioritize their spiritual journeys. He also emphasized the need for Christians to live their lives with eternity in view.
Hell is never full. It will never be full. Heaven is never full. It will never be full. What will happen is that there will be a day, like in the day of Noah. There was a time for the shutting of the ark door. There is a day that is coming in your life. When people will gather together and they say, what happened? I say, don't you know that bishop? 1 year, he died. We are doing service of songs. It can happen. Anybody can die. You can die any day. You are afraid of death because you refuse to fear the Lord. If you fear the Lord, you will never fear death.
Family, friends, football enthusiasts, and dignitaries gathered to pay tribute to the former Super Eagles captain and coach, celebrated for leading Nigeria to its first Africa Cup of Nations title in 1980.
On behalf of the government and the people of Enugu State, I extend our deepest condolences to his family and to all of the team. May the Lord grant him eternal rest, and may his legacy continue to inspire generations to come.
I have seen governors jump up, only seeing governors will jump up. They'll be dancing like children. But whenever you call him, you say, I don't like anybody, stressing me. Or if you go here, the children will start insulting you. I don't like all those things. I learned that from him, that he never used his name. He never used his powers. He never used all of this to ever try to get people to himself.
He's a gentleman, a peaceful man. If you are dealing with him, not that you fall apart. A jovial man.
Christian was an African legend, and we want our stories to be told. We want a situation where, in many decades to come, kids in this part of Nigeria, kids in Nigeria, and indeed in Africa, will get to understand about what he did. And if you don't tell your story, others will tell that story in a different way and in a way that you may not like.
The service featured hymns and prayers in honor of Chukwu's legacy in Nigerian football. continues with a night of tributes on Wednesday, a colloquium on Thursday, a novelty football match on Friday, and a burial ceremony on Saturday at Chukwu's hometown in Obe in Kano West local government. The wife of the Enugu State Governor, Kechiri Mba, has charged women across the state to remain united and grounded in shared values, describing them as the pillars upon which every thriving society stands. Speaking during this year's August meeting at Opera Square with the theme Women as Nation Builders, the First Lady noted that the gathering was timely in reinforcing women's critical role in shaping families, communities, and the nation at large. Signature TV correspondent Chinemeremi Kegbunan was at the event and brings the report.
The annual August meeting at Obara Square turned into a rallying point for women leaders, professionals, and community advocates, all united by one message: women are central to building a stronger nation. Speaking at the event, the wife of the governor, represented by the Commissioner for Children, Gender and Social Development, Ngozi Enyi, called on women to continually strive to become better versions of themselves. She emphasized that women's collective strength, vision, and moral values are vital in steering society towards progress.
I encourage us not to allow the momentum to stop here. Let the conversation you begin today bear fruit in your communities, and the connections you make evolve into partnership that transforms lives. May the voice of Enugu women never be silenced, and may our hands never grow weary in doing good.
In an address, CEO of Auto E-Service Limited, OBOKK, urged women to remain steadfast in their service to the nation, stressing that their contributions have always been the backbone of nation building.
The woman is the first, number one, builder, number two, the nurturer, and the groomer of every citizen that at one time or the other is assigned or delegated to lead in diverse capacities, in the journey of life.
The managing director of Custos Care Foundation, Ego Odigwe, made a passionate call for urgent action to eradicate gender-based violence, describing it as a major barrier to women's full participation in development.
We cannot solve the problem alone. We need the perpetrators to also be part of the solution, because we cannot continue to talk to ourselves. I'm looking forward to August meeting, whereby we will strategically engage men so that they will understand the enormity, they will understand the impact, the negative impact that violence against women that is being enabled and heightened by our culture.
Similarly, Vice President of the Women Support Women Community Network, Doris Sago, shifted attention to civic responsibility, urging Nigerians to take advantage of the 2025 nationwide continuous voters registration exercise.
We all know that the power every citizen of Nigeria has to exercise his or her civil rights is your permanent voters card.
Health and nutrition also took the spotlight as Okwinweke, a dietitian and nutritionist, stressed that nation building begins with raising healthy children. She advocated exclusive breastfeeding, reducing intake of artificial fruits, and a return to organic feeding to curb child infections.
For every nation to stand firm, we need to start early, exclusively breastfeed our children because of the importance, ensuring that immunity is boosted, ensuring that bond is created between the mother and the child. And even a lot of infections will be highly reduced, respiratory infection that we have in children, even reduce the risk of type 2 diabetes in the child when the child grows up.
Some attendees also spoke on the women's role in the development of the society.
Well, as you know, it's widely said that you train a woman, you train a nation. So it tells you that women are pillars of society and have been for as long as life itself has existed. So it's actually imperative that this year's August meeting is recognizing the importance of women as nation builders, as partners in development, Partners in Progress.
Okpara Square became alive with colorful march past from different local governments, cultural performances, dance competitions, exhibition of indigenous foods from all 17 local government areas, among other activities. From Okpara Square, Chinemerem Ikebunam reporting for Signature TV News.
Enugu State Governor Peter Mbah has laid the foundation for the construction of 5,000 shops in Nsukka International Market, pledging that his administration would always prioritize the welfare of people affected by development projects, dismissing allegations that the move targets former occupants of Ogige Market. Governor Mbah said his inclusive development model ensures that modern infrastructure is evenly spread across the state.
Development is not a zero-sum game. It is always taking into account the interest of stakeholders who may have been affected in the course of that development, which is why this is quite historic for me, because what we're going to do is, by the time we're done, and our target is to get this shop, these 5,000 shops ready by the end of this year. So we're talking about 4 months. So in 4 months, we'll be ready with this shop. And for me, what justice and fairness looks like is making sure that those people who were affected, those traders that were affected as a result of the terminal that we had just built, would be given the right of first refusal. In other words, just as the chairman said, you should make sure that you have your name written.
Speaking on behalf of the people of Nsukka, the council chairman, Jude Asogwa, hailed the project as a major step towards economic empowerment for Nsukka and the entire Enugu North zone.
Should from Monday come down here, write your name and bring the photocopy of your allocation paper. Because we call it international market. Your Excellency, don't throw here is Ogrugu jersey. With the speed you walk, we know that soonest that Ogrugu jersey, by his grace, Inema Peka, can be stretched to a seaport. And when that is done, a man from Igbeze North, a man from Igbeze South, a man from Udenu, a man from Usuwan, a man from Igbetiti, a man from Nsukka local government can buy anything all over the world and come to this place and bring it down to international.
The governor also commissioned newly reconstructed School of Health Stadium, GI Secretariat, Prisons Ring Road, executed by the Nsukka local government chairman. A private radio station in Ebonyi State, Legacy FM, has suspended its acting general manager, Odo Chikwere, for allegedly criticizing the state governor, Francis Wifuru. According to reports, Chikwere's suspension followed a series of alleged criticisms he made against the governor's administration both on air and on its social media platforms on Friday. Management on Saturday announced his suspension on air, stating that the suspension was due to its unruly behavior and disobedience to the code of conduct guiding the radio station. In a Friday post on his Facebook page, which preceded his suspension, Chikwere made a series of allegations. He claimed that administration was suffering from poor communication, underperformance by its appointees, and lack of clear policy direction. He also advised Wifuru to step on toes to achieve results, adding that the current state of affairs weakened the governor's support base. In response to the allegations, the governor's chief press secretary, Mande Uzo, issued a statement describing the criticisms as unfounded and baseless. He accused Chikwere of being ungrateful, noting that the government's support for the radio station, which included a new SUV, a transformer, and the construction of a road leading to the station. The management of Olusegun Obasanjo Presidential Library at Abeokuta, Ogun State, has threatened to take legal action against the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, over a sadist raid on its facility. Reacting to the development, the managing director of OOPL Ventures, Vitalis Osese, In a statement obtained by newsmen, said that the operatives invaded the facilities with over 50 armed men shooting and threatening to kill people. It lamented that the invasion led by one Olakbade caused panic and chaos, leading to serious injuries among participants who were trying to escape the shooting. Vitalis described the action as a clear case of invasion of private property, infringement of rights as a corporate citizen, and a stark and blatant violation of the rights of the people who gathered for the event. EFCC operatives raided the Green Legacy Hotel during a pool party, arresting several youths suspected of internet fraud. Over 20 luxury cars and other valuables were seized. The Nigeria Police Force said it has secured the conviction of 21 foreign nationals linked to a cybercrime syndicate uncovered in Abuja in November 2024. Police said the syndicate was exposed following a coordinated raid at a building in Jahi, Abuja. In a statement on Sunday, the force spokesman Muyiwa Jobi said the operatives arrested 130 suspects, including 113 foreign nationals, mainly of Chinese and Malaysian origin, and 17 Nigerians. He added that after investigations, the suspects were arraigned in court on December 2024, noting that on August 1, 2025, 21 of them were convicted and sentenced. The Mutual Union of a TIV in the United States has called for immediate and concrete measures to address the worsening humanitarian crisis in Nigeria's Middle Belt, where persistent violence has displaced thousands in Benue, Nasarawa and Taraba states. The call was contained in a communique on Sunday, issued at the end of MOTA's 31st Annual Convention in St. Louis, Missouri, by its president, Professor Aka Anyagiaka, and Secretary Bayo Rove Ikpa. It urged the federal government to provide adequate security and facilitate a safe return of internally displaced persons to their ancestral lands in Benue, Nasarawa, and Taraba states. The group also urged the Benue state government to strengthen enforcement of an anti-open grazing law and establish community-based surveillance systems that actively involve TIV youth in intelligence gathering and rapid response to threats. The group recommended the adoption of modern security technologies, including drones, to monitor and protect TIV communities, saying such tools will enhance real-time monitoring, improve response times, and serve as a force multiplier in detecting and deterring threats. The organization pledged to engage with Nigerian authorities, international organizations, and human rights bodies to advocate for policies that protect TIV life and property, and to partner with other ethnic and cultural organizations to amplify the call for peace and justice in Nigeria's Middle Belt region. Up ahead, NDLEA arrests General Overseer of Mercy Church in Lagos for cross-border drug trafficking. Nigerians react to Ngige's comment on Obi's administration as Anambra State Governor. Stay with us.
Every second, every minute, every day, news is breaking. Events occur and there are new developments. At Signature TV, we follow these stories objectively, bringing all sides without bias, explaining the complex issues, breaking down the numbers, and investigating the issues behind the news. Anywhere and everywhere, near or far, wherever the news is, we will be there. Signature TV. News in your pocket.
After months of fleeing abroad to evade arrest, the founder and general overseer of the Turn of Mercy Church, Professor Adefolusho Anu Olasele, has been arrested by operatives of the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency for masterminding multiple shipments of illicit drugs into Nigeria. Professor Adefolusho was arrested at his church located in Okuaja, Ogombo Road, Lekki area of Lagos on Sunday, while NDLE officers waited for him since morning to conclude the Sunday worship service in the evening before moving in on him the moment he stepped out of the church premises. The arrest came after he had evaded arrest twice and fled to Ghana to hide since June, when operatives started trailing him following the seizure of 2 shipments of Ghana Loud, a strain of cannabis linked to him, Femi Babafemi, NDLA spokesman, said in a statement on Sunday. The first seizure of 200 kg of the psychoactive substance was made at Okwaja Beach on 4th June 2025, while another consignment of 700 kg of the same substance was recovered from his delivery van on 6th July 2025. In his statement, he admitted ferrying the illicit consignments through the waterways from Ghana into Nigeria. The Chief of Air Staff, Air Vice Marshal Hassan Abubakar, has called for concerted efforts to address the reports of insecurity in Kebbi State. Abubakar stated this during a courtesy visit to Governor Nasir Idris at the Government House in Birnin Kebbi, where he said the reports were concerning and could threaten the peace in the state. He noted that the vast landscape and borders with 2 neighboring countries presented unique security challenge to the state. He added that his visit was aimed at assessing the performance of Air Force personnel in the state, expressing satisfaction with their conduct and operations. He assured the governor of intensified aerial surveillance and operations to root out terrorist elements and restore peace in affected areas of the state. In his remarks, Governor Idris urged the federal government to establish an Air Force base in Kebbi to help tackle security challenges facing the state. The Adamawa State government has denied speculation circulating on social media that foodstuffs distributed to flood victims last Saturday at Mustafa College in Yola South local government area had expired. Speaking on Sunday, the Secretary of the Adamawa State Emergency Management Agency, Celine Lowry, described the social media publication as not only malicious but politically motivated. She accused opposition groups in the state of maligning the image of Governor Amadou Finteri's administration. Lowry pointed out that since the return of democracy in 1999, no government in Adamawa State has done half of what Governor Amadou Finteri has achieved within 5 years of his administration. Lowry said that as a medical doctor, it is alarming and shocking that she can approve the distribution of expired food items to members of the public. He assured the victims that the administration Finteri will continue with its humanitarian services to the people of the state and call for their support for the government to enable it to do more for the people. A recent statement by former Anambra State Governor Chris Ngige accusing Peter Obi of lying about the state of Anambra during his tenure has ignited a firestorm of reactions on Signature TV's YouTube channel, where Nigerians are weighing in on the legacies of both governors, with opinions sharply divided.
So when Subeb Abuja evaluated the schools in Nigeria, Anambra won 2004, won 2005, won 2006 evaluation, and received prizes. And it also manifested in the school sat that followed it up. I had laid that foundation. I had started doing that before I left in 2006. So how can you say you got things that were awfully done? I was a civil servant. I had ideas of what to do. But he wasn't a civil servant. He was a trader. He said that he's a trader.
He says so. He says
he's an importer. He knows those ones more than me. But administration, government administration, I'm better than him. So that's what I applied in Anambra State and laid good foundation for him. And he built on the foundation. I'm not going to say he didn't do, he built on it. One thing he did also, which is good, is that he followed my pattern of cutting down waste. I didn't allow any civil servant to do an extra code for travel more than 2-3 days. No. I tell them, if you're going for a conference, leave that morning. Arrive at your conference, finish first night, second night, third night, you start coming back. So I blocked leakages. There was no first lady's office when I was governor. Go and ask. I closed it down. I'm the one who closed First Lady's office down, not Obi. Yes. So I don't want to enter any controversy.
Well, let us leave the
because this thing will stir up controversy.
Please,
then
please.
The obedience will now say I'm disobedient.
No, please don't be. Please don't be.
I'm not an obedient.
But you're not disobedient.
But I'm not disobedient.
Thank you very much.
That's Senior Fit and Free provided detailed scorecard comparing Ngige and Obi, rating Obi at 84% for strong fiscal management, education reforms, and security improvements, while giving Ngige at 56.5% score, praising his infrastructure achievements. Atugo Williams 8437 supported Obi's claims, stating Peter Obi is right when he said he met a messed up and devastated state, which he began to mend and repair. The state ranked 26th in education when Obi took over and improved it to first position. Acknowledging Ngige's efforts, but highlighted the political instability during his tenure, including the burning of state facilities by thugs. At Celestine Ezekweche 7926 praised Ngige's road construction, noting in road construction, Ngige is the best, noting that the one he did in its town since 2005 is still intact. However, they credited Obi with consolidating Anambra's progress, adding Ngige and Obi have been the best Anambra governors so far. At Kelechukwu Anozik 7605 took a balanced view, saying Ngige performed better than Mbadunuju and even Soludo, but some things he failed to do because godfathers were controlling him. They also commended Ngige for not wanting to pull Peter Obi down. Others like Iken Obara 5033 leaned heavily towards Obi, stating Obi was an exceptional governor. According to him, it was during Obi's governance that he first felt the presence of governance in Anambra State while he was living in the UK. Meanwhile, at Ino10I3W noted, he loved it when Peter Obi is being criticized so that he can debunk with evidence. If he is at fault, he will surely apologize. At Brotherhood Club Malaga, while drifting from the conversation, said he wondered how Nigeria would have been if Ekweme had won that PDP primaries and became Nigeria's president. A former lawmaker in Lagos State Assembly, Jude Idimogo, has appealed to President Bola Tinubu to grant clemency to the detained leader of indigenous people of Biafra, Nnamdi Kanu. Idimogo, in an interview on Sunday, said releasing Kanu would help the ruling APC in the southeast as the nation approaches the 2027 general elections. Idimogo said that such pardon, if granted, would not be forgotten and would aid the party's fortune in southeast in 2027 general elections. Said the release of Kanu would de-escalate the tension and make the economy of the region come alive again. Kanu, the leader of a self-determination movement, was arrested in Nairobi, Kenya in 2021, brought to Nigeria, and had since been in custody facing trial. House of Representatives member representing the Yaba East, Yaba West, Mopamuro Federal Constituency of Kogi State, Leke Abejide, has warned that coalition leaders will be sent out of the African Democratic Congress, ADC. Abejide said the Atiku-backed coalition is not in control of the ADC and will prove it soon. Opposition coalition recently adopted the ADC as its official political party. Following the adoption, David Mark was appointed as ADC's interim national chairman and Aregbesola as interim national secretary. Dismissing the grip of the party, Abejide said ADC's constitution stipulates that one can only occupy national office after 2 years in the party. The Lagos State chapter of the All Progressives Congress, APC, has dismissed as laughable former Prime Minister of Transportation Rotimi Amechi's claim that he could defeat President Bola Ahmed Tinubu if given the presidential ticket of the African Democratic Congress, ADC. In a statement issued on Saturday, the party described Amechi's remarks as a desperate outburst of a politician seeking relevance, insisting he lacked the pedigree, political network, and nationwide support to challenge the president. Lagos APC accused the former Rivers State governor of political inconsistency, alleging that he failed to secure victory even in his own polling unit during the last election. It also dismissed his claims of knowing Tinubu's weaknesses as an expression of resentment stemming from a turbulent political career. The Lagos State government has ordered a comprehensive inspection of all vehicles operated by licensed e-hailing platforms in the state, citing safety risk and poor service delivery. In a statement on Sunday, the State Commissioner for Transportation, Oluwaseun Osiyemi, said the move is aimed at improving safety service quality and regulatory compliance across the sector. He added that the ministry had observed the deplorable condition of some vehicles operated by drivers under licensed e-hailing platforms within the state. This is stated in a comprehensive audit of all vehicles in use, warning that any vehicle found unsuitable will not be allowed to operate on Lagos roads. The CME also raised concerns over inadequate database bases among some operators, said this hindered the tracking of crimes committed through their services. The Speaker of the House of Representatives, Tajuddin Abbas, has described as shocking the demise of a former chairman of the Arewa Consultative Forum, Audu Ogbe, who passed away on Saturday, aged 78. Abbas described Ogbe as an elder statesman who spent most of his life in diligent service to Nigeria and the people. The Speaker, in a condolence message, noted that not many Nigerians were privileged to see him serve the country. He commiserated the deceased family, the people and government of Benue State. The Speaker prayed to God to grant him eternal rest. Still to come, Zelensky says sanctions and pressure on Russia are needed to end war. Free diving world record, 6th gold for Taiwan's tug-of-war team. These and more after the break.
Every second, every minute, every day, news is breaking. Events occur and there are new developments. At Signature TV, we follow these stories objectively, bringing all sides without bias, explaining the complex issues, breaking down the numbers, and investigating the issues behind the news. Anywhere and everywhere, near or far, wherever the news is, we will be there. Signature TV. News in your pocket.
United Nations ambassador slammed Israel's plan to take control of Gaza City during an emergency session of the Security Council on Sunday. As the UN Security Council had new demands for an end to suffering in the Palestinian enclave, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said on Sunday he expected to complete a new Gaza offensive fairly quickly. European representatives at the United Nations said famine was unfolding in Gaza, and Israel's plan would only make things worse. The head of the Office for the Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs, Ramesh Bajasiya, said he was extremely concerned of a prolonged conflict, the report of atrocities and further human toll that is likely to unfold following the government of Israel's decision to expand military operations in Gaza, added that it was a grave escalation. France reiterated its condemnation of the Netanyahu plan, whilst the U.S. representative defended Netanyahu. The Israeli Prime Minister saying Washington was committed to addressing humanitarian needs, freeing the hostages, and achieving peace.
Our ultimate goal remains unchanged. Israel and a fully independent, democratic, contiguous, viable and sovereign Palestinian state, of which Gaza is an integral part.
I'm extremely concerned over the prolonged conflict, the reports of atrocities and further human toll that is likely to unfold following the government of Israel's decision to expand military operations in Gaza. This marks a grave escalation in the conflict that has already inflicted unimaginable suffering. Now, for over 670 days, Palestinians in Gaza have endured daily killings and injuries. More than 61,000 people have been killed. Since the escalation of hostilities in October 2023, the health authorities in Gaza have documented the deaths of 98 children from severe acute malnutrition, 37 alone since the 1st of July, just over a month ago. This is no longer a looming hunger crisis. This is starvation, pure and simple.
At an emergency Security Council session on Sunday, Israeli and Palestinian ambassadors offered starkly different narratives of the situation and solutions needed to end the conflict in Gaza. Addressing the other diplomats, Palestinian UN Ambassador Riyad Mansour thanked other countries for acknowledging the pain in Gaza, but stated that words were not enough to stop the harm. He added that if it was another country, we would have been imposing sanctions long ago. Israeli Ambassador Jonathan Miller countered the characterization of Israel as the aggressor, noting that the objective was to liberate Gaza from a brutal terror regime.
We appreciate the description of almost all of you of the deepness of the pain and the tragedy that our people is enduring. While this is okay, it is not sufficient. You have to act. You have to do something about it. You have to stop it. Otherwise, this analysis and description does not mean anything. If its concern was actually security, it would have rallied this plan and should have been happy to see this plan adopted by almost the entire international community. Israel is seeking to cement its full military control over the Gaza Strip and is prolonging this war not to end Hamas rule or to disarm it, but to prevent independent Palestinian statehood. These facts have led many to rightly wonder, how on earth is Israel still allowed to sit around this table and in these United Nations? If it was another country, you would have been imposing sanctions long time ago. Of people, children, killed, maimed, displaced, starved, humiliated, mutilated, buried alive, burnt alive, abducted, tortured, orphaned, bereaved, shattered, torn apart, the measures taken do not match the level of the crimes committed so as to truly deter them.
Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said on Sunday they had no choice but to complete the job and defeat Hamas, given the group's refusal to lay down its arms. Netanyahu said Israel was working to increase aid distribution in the humanitarian surge and invited more countries to join in the efforts of the Israeli army with humanitarian aid drops.
The war can end tomorrow if Gaza, or rather if Hamas, lays down its arms and releases all the remaining hostages. Gaza will be demilitarized. Israel will have overriding security responsibility. A security zone will be established on Gaza's border with Israel to prevent future terrorist incursions. A civilian administration will be established in Gaza that will seek to live in peace with Israel. 5 principles for concluding the war. 1, Hamas disarmed. 2nd, all hostages freed. 3rd, Gaza demilitarized. 4th, Israel has overriding security control. And 5, non-Israeli peaceful civilian administration. Given Hamas's refusal to lay down its arms, Israel has no choice but to finish the job and complete the defeat of Hamas. Israel's Security Cabinet instructed the IDF to dismantle the 2 remaining Hamas strongholds in Gaza City and the central camps. Contrary to false claims, this is the best way to end the war and the best way to end it speedily.
Families of victims of Hamas' October 7 attack on Israel called on Israelis on Sunday to join them in a popular strike in a week's time to stop the government's plan to expand and deepen its war in Gaza. Families of people killed during the attack and of hostages still held by Hamas in the Palestinian enclave said that the planned move by the Israeli government would endanger the lives of hostages and of soldiers sent to battle. They demand a deal to end the war and to release all hostages. The families called for a strike to stop Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's new Gaza plan, joins rising opposition across different sectors in Israel to the move. On Friday, Netanyahu's office said the Security Cabinet, a small group of senior ministers, had decided to seize Gaza City, expand the military operations in the devastated Palestinian territory Despite widespread public opposition and warnings from the military, the move could endanger the hostages. In a news conference in Tel Aviv, families of victims and hostages called on heads of Israeli economy as well as on the people to join their strike next Sunday.
We are here today to call on Israel's largest companies, trade union and the tech sector to stop everything in order to save our hostages and our soldiers. We are doing this because we have no choice. My husband and the other hostages are facing extreme danger. The decision to send the army deeper into Gaza is a danger to my husband Omri. But we can still stop this disaster. And from here, I again want to ask President Trump and Mr. Witkoff, we don't need more war, more dead hostage, more dead soldiers. We need a deal to end this war and save them. Please, you are the ones who can make it happen.
Next Sunday, in exactly a week from now, we will stop our lives, just as the lives of so many mothers had stopped since October 7th. It is not in the hands of any chair or any CEO. It's in our hands. It's in your hands, the mothers, the daughters, the sisters. It's in your hands, the sons, the friends. We will all stop next Sunday and say enough. Stop the war. Bring them all back home. It's in our hands.
But my Matan is still not here. He was left behind in the tunnels, in Hamas tunnels, while he's badly wounded, being interrogated and violent torture. His medical state is critical. I don't know when he last ate. I don't know when he saw the light of day. The government decided to conquer the Gaza Strip, to send soldier to get closer to Matan. They are fighting to get him back, but in reality they endanger him, endanger themselves and his life.
Pope Leo on Sunday congratulated Armenia and Azerbaijan on signing a peace agreement after decades of conflict in the South Caucasus. In his traditional weekly address from the Vatican, the pontiff expressed hope that the U.S. brokered deal would contribute to stable and lasting peace in the region. Leo also drew attention to the humanitarian crisis in Haiti, calling for the release of all hostages and requesting the support of the international community.
I congratulate Armenia and Azerbaijan on signing the joint peace declaration. I hope that this event will contribute to a stable and lasting peace in the South Caucasus. Instead, the situation of the Haitian population is becoming increasingly desperate. There are constant reports of murders, violence of all kinds, human trafficking, forced exile and kidnappings. I make a heartfelt appeal to all those responsible to release the hostages immediately, and I ask for the concrete support of the international community. We continue to pray for an end to wars. The 80th anniversary of the bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki has reawakened throughout the world the rightful rejection of war as a way to resolve conflicts.
A video captured Ukrainian town of Belozersk in Donetsk region under Russian drone attack on Sunday. Drones flying around the town, gunfire to shoot them down, and multiple explosions were heard in the video. Belozersk sits less than 40 kilometers to the north from Pokrovsk, a logistic hub in Donetsk region under heavy attack for months. General Staff of Ukraine's military said Ukrainian forces continued action to contain Russian forces that have been trying to move closer to Pokrovsk. The front line has been moving towards Belozersk. Russian soldiers were more than 50 kilometers away at the beginning of last year and are about 25 kilometers from the edge of the town, close enough for it to come under fire from kamikaze drones carrying explosives. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky on Sunday called for sanctions and pressure on Russia to bring an end to the war. Speaking in an evening video address, Zelensky said there has been no real step from Russia towards peace, no action on the ground, nor in the air that could save lives. Zelensky also said there were several casualties in Zaporozhye following a Russian strike. Russian strikes injured at least 12 in Ukraine's Zaporozhye region, the country's Foreign Affairs Ministry said on Sunday. Zelensky said first responders, medics and police officers are working to help after a strike by Russian bombs in Zaporizhzhia. Zaporizhzhia has been on the front lines of a war that Russia launched against its smaller neighbor in February 2022. Over 2,500 Buddhist monks held a peace march on Sunday, calling for the full respect of a ceasefire agreement between Cambodia and Thailand, as well as the release of 18 captured soldiers. 2,569 Buddhist monks joined nuns and residents of a city to carry banners and Cambodian flags in a 3-kilometer peace march from Wat Pon to the Independence Monument in central Phnom Penh. The peace march stopped shortly at the U.S. Embassy as a show of gratitude to U.S. President Donald Trump for initiating the ceasefire agreement. A monk also read a statement supporting the Cambodian leader for nominating him for the Nobel Peace Prize. The July 24 to 28 clashes, the worst fighting between the countries in more than a decade, involved exchanges of artillery fire and jet fire sorties that killed at least 43 and left about 300,000 people displaced on both sides. A fragile ceasefire has been holding since Thailand and Cambodia agreed on Thursday to let observers from the Association of Southeast Asian Nations inspect disputed border areas to ensure hostilities do not resume. Spanish firefighters on Sunday battled various active wildfires in the Leon province as the country experiences a scorching heat wave. Members of a Spanish military emergency unit were deployed to prevent the spread of blazes in the towns of Lleras and Rallo, as 5 other wildfires were raging in Castile and Leon region, making a total of 7 active wildfires. Regional authorities declared a level 2 alert in 2 of the wildfires due to the proximity to urban areas. Spanish Meteorology Agency forecasted the current heat wave, which started on August 4, to last until Thursday. The Tigers have unveiled their final lineup for Men's Afro Basketball Championship set for Angola from August 12 to August 24. Nigeria's men are chasing a second continental crown a decade after lifting their maiden title in 2015. Drawn in Group B with Tunisia, Madagascar and Cameroon, the Tigers tip off against Madagascar on August 13. After intense preparations, coach Mohamed Abdulrahman asked for Lafayemi, Karim Joseph and Mohamed Abdul Salam from the training camp. Big man Peter De Semeka also misses out after being declared ineligible. Star guard Josh Okoje headlines the roster, joined by returning stalwart Talib Zana, Ike Nwamo, Stan Okoye and Caleb Agada. This year's AfroBasket marks the 31st edition since 1962. Angola topped the all-time charts with 11 titles. Tunisia are the reigning champions, having claimed glory at the last tournament. 16 nations will battle for the coveted trophy. FA Cup winners Crystal Palace beat Premier League champions Liverpool 3-2 on penalties to win the Community Shield after an entertaining 2-2 draw at Wembley on Sunday. Substitute Justin Denvenate scored the winning sport kick to give Palace the spoils after Mohamed Salah, Alexis Mark Allister and Harvey Elliott missed for the Reds. New recruit Hugo Ekitike had put Liverpool ahead inside 4 minutes before Jean-Philippe Mateta levelled from a penalty spot in the 17th for Palace after Virgil van Dijk brought down Ismail Assar. Close season signing Jeremy Frimpong restored the Reds' lead as Liverpool fans marked the death of Portugal forward Diogo Jota with 20 minutes on the clock, setting an attempted cross looping in off the post. But Palace equalized again with 13 minutes to play. Sarr slotting past on-rushing goalkeeper Alisson to send the traditional season curtain raiser to penalties. And that's the news this hour. I am Barry Kumo Ado. Thank you very much for joining us.